vital debate over the very future of public health in America playing out all day today, live on television.
After firing the entire...
You're evading the question.
You're interrupting me, and sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are.
You're making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
So let me ask you, when were you lying, sir?
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish.
You are a hazard to the health of the American people.
Can I respond to that, Senator?
No, I claim back my time.
So that was some of the theater that we saw today, but it all really does underscore the substance of what RFK Jr. is actually doing as the top health administrator in our nation's government. He is putting his own thoughts and feelings about the science, and remember, he's not a lawyer, he is a lawyer, he is not a scientist or a doctor. He is putting those thoughts and feelings over the data that actual scientists are bringing to the public. Here he was today talking at various points throughout this hearing about scientists and doctors lying to you.
So she's lying today to the American people in the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, sir.
American Academy of Pediatrics, you think they're lying too?
I think the American Academy of Pediatrics is gravely conflicted. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We are being lied to by these agencies, and we're going to change that right now.
So it was interesting to hear Kennedy claim that so many people who have dedicated their lives to try to keep other people healthy and well, that those people are lying to you, when, as we know so plainly, RFK Jr. himself seems to have no issue with lying to you about what he himself has said in the past. Over the summer in an interview, you said, quote, "There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective." Do you still believe that?
I never said that.
So stop me. We have the clip. Please play the clip.
I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
I never said that, he says. And yet, he was clearly lying about that. Let's get off the sidelines. Let's head into the arena. My panel is here, but we do want to get first right to CNN chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who, of course, is a doctor and would never lie to you. And Dr. Gupta, you were watching this hearing right along with the rest of America. Yeah. And honestly, you've seen such an arc of our public health experience. You are a doctor yourself. You understand the science. You understand the data. You also understand how to communicate with people and what makes them trust you and what makes them not trust you. What impact do you think this hearing today had on all of our health?
This was infuriating, to be quite honest, anxiety-provoking as well, and mostly useless. I think the American people would walk away from this far more confused at the end of 3 hours than they were at the beginning. And, you're dealing with some of the most powerful people in the world. I mean, the Secretary of Health, he is essentially the CEO of the largest health enterprise in the world, responsible for obviously close to a $2 trillion budget, but also, millions, 100 million people roughly, insurance, budgets for research, for scientific discovery. And I don't think people know what to believe. At some point, it was clear that he was saying COVID vaccines were more dangerous than COVID itself. I think he said something similar about antidepressants in the form of SSRIs. People aren't sure if they should get a vaccine, if they can get a vaccine. I was shocked. I've been doing this job for a long time, Casey, 25 years. That was the most scattered, vitriolic, and frankly, again, useless sort of, aggregation of thoughts, I think, that I've ever seen.
Really remarkable when you put it that way, again, having seen as much as you have. And Sanjay, can you help us understand a little bit of the actual implications here? Because look, there's a lot of government, there's a lot of things we talk about on this set when we talk about politics that real people, or all people being real, but that people back home, they don't necessarily think it matters to them, and maybe it doesn't, right? Maybe it matters more here. But this seems to have a very real world impact? When you have a baby, you take your child to the doctor. What does that doctor tell you about what shots they should have? What they may be exposed to? Can you help us understand, especially the vaccine piece of this, what we heard from RFK today? Like, are more kids going to get sick because he's in charge?
I worry that that's the case. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see when you look at what's happening in states like Florida, for example, which is taking their cues from, I think, RFK. They're not going to recommend or mandate vaccines anymore for kids to go to school, something that's been around since the early 80s. I think what's going to be interesting to see is, do parents then not vaccinate their kids more? There's already been exemptions in place, Casey, as you may well know. So people could exempt from vaccines for personal or religious reasons. And typically the percentage of parents who do that is very low single digits, 1, 2, 3%, roughly around the country, depending on state. 80% roughly of parents right now we're talking about, still think vaccine mandates for their school-age children are important. So will continue to get their kids vaccinated despite all the stuff that they're hearing here, despite the fact that the HHS secretary is casting some real doubt. When he says, look, none of these vaccines have been tested, when he said what he said to you in December of 2023, that none are safe and effective, if you're a new parent, you'd be rightly confused. And I think that that's the tragedy of all of it. Hopefully common sense prevails and people actually trust, what they think is true, but we'll see. I think a lot of distrust out there. A third of the country has heard the message at some point this year that the measles vaccine is more dangerous than measles itself. A third of the country has heard that. That is the type of that's false, absolutely false, and yet that is the information that's getting out there over and over again, and for some people that will stick.
Yeah, just stunning. I mean, and when I have friends, I have a parent of young children, the practices, the pediatricians here in Washington, D.C., which is, a blue and cosmopolitan city, will ask you, are you willing to commit to this vaccine schedule? Because if you're not, we're not the practice for you. I was blown away that they had to ask us that. But Dr. Sanjay Gupta, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.